Hello, my name is John Brink and we are podcasting on the Brink from the capital of northern BC, Prince George. Beautiful day in Prince George, approaching the 10th of, or the 5th actually of July, and beautiful day. And we have a very, very special guest today. His name is Thies, T-I-E-S. His last name, amazingly, is Brink. And so he is related. We'll talk about that as well. And so introducing, hi Thies, welcome to the show.
John, yes, thank you very much. Thanks for the invite. It's good to be here.
So, you live where?
I live in the Netherlands, in Delft actually.
In Delft?
Yeah, so that's overseas.
Yeah, so, and Delft, is that a university city?
That's right, yes. I'm in my first year. I study industrial engineering.
Industrial engineering?
Yes, at the University of Technology in Delft.
Okay.
So that's the same university as...
Is that the third year that you're in university?
The first year.
The first year?
Yeah, so I just finished my first year and then now I'm in Canada for the summer.
And so, industrial engineering, what kind of a specialty is that?
It's not really a specialty, it's more a very broad study. So we get taught things like Python, coding, systems modeling, or stuff like that. But we also have subjects like economics and law. So it's a very broad study. So it's not really one specific topic. It's more a general study, which I really like.
So when you made the decision to go in that direction, what's the objective in terms of a career?
Well, what I did after high school, I took a gap year. And I wanted to...
You did what?
A gap year. So that's like a year of no studying.
Okay.
So
so that's taking off a year?
Yeah, that's right. So I took off a year.
Yeah.
And well, actually my initial plans were to go to Canada and to visit you here for like half a year.
Then COVID happened.
COVID hit, everything was cancelled.
Right.
My plans didn't went through. So then I thought, how can I still make my gap year a successful gap year? And then I reached out to my network on LinkedIn and I asked people if I could invite them for a cup of coffee or visit their companies. And I called this bagagestage. That's a Dutch term for like a luggage internship.
Baggage stage is the name?
Yes, baggage stage.
So what does it mean?
In English it means something like a luggage internship, because my idea with the internships was to...
So for the purpose of that is to get involved in a company that is operating and you could stand back and kind of watch what they are doing.
Exactly.
And if you liked it, or kind of give you experience without having to wait until you got the job.
That's exactly what I
Did that then help you in deciding the course that you would take in university?
Yes, definitely. I spoke many people. In the end, I visited around 130 companies, and I was a sponge, and I absorbed everything I saw. And then I had many conversations with like big CEOs, and I told them, what would you do if you were my age? Or I asked them, what study would you like? And this study, like industrial engineering at the TU Delft, many people liked it. And then I thought, okay, it must be a very good study if so many people say it's a good one. And I really liked the things I saw and the subject and the courses you would take. So then I thought, okay, let's...
Do you get a designation after you have studied that, like MBA or engineer or a doctorate? Or?
In Delft, everybody is an engineer. So it's a Bachelor of Science, and all the bachelor studies in Delft do that.
Yeah.
And then most people want to do a master afterwards, which is 2 years in the Netherlands. And then
you what after?
So first you do the bachelor, which is 3 years in the Netherlands, and then you do the master, like a master.
Masters.
Yes.
Then you're an engineer.
Exactly. Then you're a master of science.
Yeah.
So that's how things go there.
Yeah. And the reason that you did that is to become more rounded in terms of you may well then become a potential candidate to manage or be a CEO of a future company of whatever description.
Exactly. Well, I think it's good to know that there are so many jobs that I never heard of. Like I knew what a lawyer was, I knew what a doctor did approximately, but then I now find out there's
Architect.
Architect. I would know that. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but there are so many sectors or jobs that I never even heard of.
Yeah.
And I think to become a CEO, it's good to know something about many parts of like the whole market. So
Yeah.
that's I think, and mostly it was because I really liked it. I'm very curious, so I like talking to people. I like getting to know what someone does, how his work looks like, why he does what he does, why he's successful, how he's come there.
Yeah, good idea. Now, just for the people that are watching, is that how are you related to me?
Yeah, that's we have an interesting relationship. So you are the brother of my grandfather.
Yeah.
And so you're the uncle of my father, or like my grand uncle or great uncle. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that's the term.
Yeah, and your dad's name is
Bart.
And Bart, I think he was born in 1967.
66, yeah.
66. I was there very shortly thereafter when he was born, actually, and so we are very closely connected as a family, and so yeah. And then the other thing is interesting about it is that you have a sister, is Suze.
That's right, yeah.
And Suze also, you are 20. You don't mind me saying that, right?
No, of course not.
And Suze is 18. And Suze is taking the same course at the University of Delft as you are.
Yeah, well, it's getting even more coincidental. We went to the same high school, and we actually went to the same high school as my father did as well, which is in Voorburg in the Netherlands.
Yeah, Voorburg is a subsidiary or close to Den Haag.
Yes.
And Den Haag is the capital of Holland.
No, Amsterdam is the capital of Holland.
Yeah.
But The Hague is the capital.
Some people don't quite, so I just
No,
okay.
that's right.
Yeah.
So Voorburg is like a small suburb of The Hague, you could say it like that.
Virtually intertwined, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's all connected in the lands because there's not so much space as here. But then we went to the same high school, and she was 1 year below me because she's 18. And then she decided to take a gap year as well, which she has at the moment. She went to Spain and she did some Spanish courses.
What did she do in Spain? She was there for about 3 months, right?
Yeah, she was there for 4 months and she took Spanish classes.
Emerging in Spanish, and all she did is speak Spanish.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Exactly. Well, she did
More
party as well, and she met many friends from all over the world.
Right.
And she's much into cooking, and she likes diets and food.
Right.
So she took she actually visited many restaurants as well.
Yeah.
She did those like bagage stage.
Madrid, or where did she go?
Like many restaurants in the neighborhood.
Yeah, in Madrid or?
No, sorry, in the Netherlands. This was before she went to Spain.
Okay.
So, and then she found out she liked the study I'm doing as well. So she likes industrial engineering as well.
Right.
And then she decided to follow me and to do that as well. So that's really nice.
Now you're still pretty young to be in university, and so obviously I haven't seen you in about how long?
I think last time I was in Canada was 4 years ago or so. So then
you were about 1.5 feet shorter then.
That's right.
Because Ties is about 6'3".
Yeah, that's right.
The other thing that you like studying, you did very well in your first year in university.
Well, yeah, I do like studying. Well, most of the time I do know what teachers want on the test.
Right.
So I think it's like sort of a hack. If I read a certain page or a chapter, I know this is going to be important, this will be on the test, and this and that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think studying was, I wouldn't say I'm good at studying, because it's all, it just came at me, or sort of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did graduate with honors in high school. So that's really nice, and I just recently passed my last exam. So I passed all my first year courses,
Yeah.
which is I like that.
Amazing. So you go back to university in September.
Yeah, that's right. And my second year will start.
Yeah. Now the other thing that is interesting about you, because you've been industrious or active in a lot of areas, you became one of the youngest mayors of a city in Holland called Madurodam.
That's right.
And Madurodam is a city that is proportionally smaller. What is the scale?
It's scale 1 to 25.
1 to 25 of another city. It's a big city. It has all the regular infrastructure and budgets and all of those things of a normal city.
Yeah.
It has an elected, selected council.
That's right.
And you were the mayor for 1 year when you were 18.
Yeah, I know. I was 16 when I started.
16.
Yes, yeah. So I was in the 5th class of high school.
And correct me if they selected from students that are studying in Den Haag in that area, and they are selected or chosen by others as candidates.
Yeah, that's right. So Madurodam is a sort of, we call it a theme park, and it's actually a memorial to a war hero. And the first mayor of the city was our queen, Queen Beatrix.
Yeah.
She was it from 1952 when the park started until 1980.
Right.
And since then they got students from The Hague. There are 10 schools in The Hague.
Yeah.
And they all can have like one student in the council.
Yeah.
And then of those 10, one gets elected as a mayor.
By the council?
No, by the people of the park. So everybody that works in Madurodam, which is about
makes the choice.
People. Yes.
So and you were the lucky one for that year.
I was. Yeah, that was very nice. So we all had to do this pitch.
What an experience, huh?
It was so amazing. Yeah. So you're kind of an ambassador. You're the face of the theme park.
Yeah.
But you have 2 other tasks as well, because Madurodam is a fundraiser for charity.
Right.
So with the council of 10 students, you can give out about 600,000 euros a year.
A large budget.
Yes, it's very large, and you can give advice to the board of Madurodam on which projects we should sponsor and we should.
Very real in terms of how a community like that is managed, right?
Exactly.
And then, extremely popular, a must-see for anybody visiting Holland.
Yeah.
Madurodam is one of the things you must see.
That's right.
How many guests do they get on an annual basis?
Well, due to COVID, many.
But normally?
Normally about 1.2 million a year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite a lot. So it's a must-see. The good thing about Madurodam is there are many cities in Madurodam, so you can see the Netherlands in one day. Yeah. So that's what we tell our guests. If you visit Madurodam, you can skip the rest of the Netherlands. Yeah. So
Now the other thing about you and your family is that you always had an attraction to Canada. So
yeah, we like it here. I think it mostly because of you. Because you went to Canada when you were 25, right?
24, yeah.
24.
1965.
Yeah, and I think we see many things of you on the Instagram, and we talk to you every once in a while, and we just love it here. So we've been here, I think, 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you visit the Netherlands, so it's really nice to be here. And we like Canadian people. We like the surroundings, the scenery. And we like the mentality of Canada.
Yeah.
Do you see that as well?
Yeah, and then the Holland is different than Canada. It's unique as well, but it's different than Canada. A lot more people probably, and
way flatter. Like the highest mountain in the Netherlands is maybe, I think, 300 meters or so.
Right.
I don't know what it is in foot. I think 900.
Yeah, something 4 to 1 in that area.
Yeah. So it's very flat. It's way more crowded. I think there are 70 million people in like a way smaller area. Yeah. But then it's nice to be here.
Now the other thing that you do is you also started podcasting.
That's right. Yeah.
So tell me something about that.
Yeah, so when I finished my gap year and I visited over 130 companies, people told me you should make a podcast about it, and you learn so many things, you should give that to other people as well, and maybe be a sort of inspiration for people that are choosing a study as well.
Yeah.
So then
Young people in particular.
Yeah, young people, like people that are 16, 17, 18
Yeah.
years old that are also looking for what should I study?
Direction, right?
Exactly. So then I came up with the idea of, in Dutch it's called the Studiekeuzecast.
How do you call it?
A Studiekeuzecast. It
Okay.
translates to...
Studiekeuzecast.
Almost.
So study kitchen closet.
No, it's sorry. It's just, no, it's sorry. It's a
Oh my God.
Studiekeuze. Sorry for that.
Funny, yeah.
So it's a Studiekeuzecast, which is
keuze,
making the right study decision.
Yeah.
So that's what the podcast is about, and then I talk every episode. I talk to a student and a teacher from every study in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And then in about 20 minutes we talk about the pros and the cons of every study.
So how long are the podcasts?
A very short, 20 minutes.
20 minutes,
yeah.
and then you do it from your office or from your house? Or?
No, we have this portable podcast set, and I can take that to every faculty in the Netherlands. So I went from Maastricht, which is all down in the
southern part of Holland.
Yes, to Delft, where I study.
Yeah.
So and then we try to cover as many studies as possible.
Nice.
So that's what I do.
So do you find like so you're studying in Delft, you know, like which is a beautiful city and in one of the best universities in Europe, in my opinion, and then you know, like hard to find a place in Delft. Do you rent an apartment or what do you do?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So in Delft, most students, when they go to university, they go out and they find other students to live with. So that's what I did as well. And now I live in a pretty big house with 18 other boys.
18?
18, yes. So it's quite a big house.
Must be a zoo.
It is, but it's a very organized zoo because we have many rules that keep it like livable. Because otherwise, 18 boys will be a mess.
Yeah.
So I think I'm the youngest. There are 3 people of each year, and there are about 5 or 6 study years, like we mentioned. So there are 3 boys from 1920, 3 from 2021.
Okay, they do that all on purpose, right?
Yes.
And then some of the older ones, right up to 26, they are in the 5th year.
Yeah.
You know, so it's well balanced. Then.
Exactly. So then, when 3 people leave the house, there are 3 new, like fresh boys coming in that are starting the study.
Right.
So that's the whole housing culture.
So is that more efficient, really, from a financial perspective?
I think so. Yeah. We share the rent of the whole house.
Yeah.
So it's way cheaper than here. Like I've seen the university here, the UBC, University of British Columbia.
Yeah.
And I've heard that the rent up here is way higher than in the Netherlands.
Yeah, it's very high. So now you've only been here in northern BC for this 2 days, right?
That's
so
right,
far.
yeah.
So you still have to see our university here in northern British Columbia is UNBC, University of Northern British Columbia. Is beautiful university.
Yeah.
It's the highest rated small university in Canada. Has been for about 3 or 4 years. You know.
You did something special there, right?
I did. Yeah, I got the doctorates of laws. In May 31st, 2019.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So because of your of your business, or why was that?
Yeah, because of you get selected. You know, the people bring you forward as somebody that they consider you would be deserving of it. So it's a real honor to have that. Yeah, for me, it was in particular. Yeah. So I very much liked it. And then I had been very involved in the university when it first came about, making sure that we got a university, freestanding university in northern BC.
Because this wasn't here in when you were 20?
No. It all happened in the early 80s. I was then a political president, and a lot of people, you know, got behind it and putting pressure on the politicians to fund the university. It's an amazing university. The other thing that we have here is amazing College of New Caledonia. That is very well known too. And
Are you involved there as well?
yeah, I'm very much involved there as well.
So
My name is on one of the buildings actually
Oh, it
that
is?
I was involved in. Yeah.
Okay, so then you must be very involved there.
Yeah, I was quite involved in it, and so important. Because when I came here in July of 1965, I arrived by Greyhound bus about 2 or 3 blocks away from here, with my one suitcase, my set of clothes, and 3 books, and and $25.47. I didn't have a job, didn't know a soul, and there it is. And just for our guest, I'll just kind of show it to you. Here is the $25.47. The thing that counts for me in my life is attitude, passion, work ethic. What follows is success.
And now you're sitting here recording a podcast, having a thriving business.
Well, yeah, it's the land of opportunity, right? So as it is in many places, but Canada is unique, and for me, it was always my dream to go to Canada.
So why Canada? Why here?
Well, we were liberated, in April the 12th, 1945, by the Canadians, and things had been very rough then in Northern Holland, but throughout Holland. And then the winter of 1944-45 were called the Hunger Winter, and my mother had 3 kids. I was the youngest, and then my sister Emma, she was 1 year older, and Dedo, your grandfather, 2 years older than me, and and trying to stay alive, basically.
And your father, where was he then?
He was drafted into the Dutch army.
Okay.
And the last time that they saw him in April of 1940 is during the bombing of Rotterdam.
Wow.
And they didn't know, for 5 years we didn't know if he was dead or alive.
So your mother was a single mother?
All by herself.
Wow.
And things were tough then, right? So every morning what we would do, the kids would go out with gunny sacks to the railroads and pick up anything edible and burnable. And and then at nights, when things were cold, we had this little room, the only place we heated, and a little stove that they kept warm. That was the only heat that we had in the house, so.
Do you think this has an impact on your life, like even still, right now?
I believe so, yeah. I talk about it more now than I did before. I'm a classic example of ADHD, and the book about it that I wrote is coming out, ADHD Unlocked, is coming out July 15th, and should be available in the stores around July 25th in that area, and on Amazon, both in actual book form and also in audio.
Okay, so
on YouTube and all the other media. So that's the one, the ADHD. But in addition to that, there has been, having been exposed to war and things that happen that should not be seen by kids, dead bodies and airplanes in the air throwing bombs and all of those kind of things, I think left the effect of ADHD.
To be fair of your father, if he was still alive, like all those things accumulated to pretty hard youth, I can imagine.
Yeah. And then even after the war, when everybody came back, it would take, their whole lives had been turned upside down, and that for families to kind of get back into a routine, it would take years and years. And especially people like my dad, obviously were affected by PTSD, as I did, as a child, being exposed to things that you should not be exposed to, right? So it had an effect, there's no question about that.
But you went to school, right? And then how did that go?
Not a success story, Thies. I failed grade 3, and nobody fails grade 3. And then I failed grade 7 3 times.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Now your dad, your grandpa, Dedo, he was very good, and he went to the same university as he did, as you and Soos do, and then became an extremely successful architect, / entrepreneur. His company is still, although unfortunately he passed away in May of 2019, but his company is still very much there. My umbrella company is the Brink Group, meaning GROUP. His one that he sold a number of years ago is the Brink Group, GROEP.
Yes, that's the Dutch version.
The Dutch version of it. Yeah. So actually what I did is I took the name and I kind of, I didn't ask him about it, but I just adopted it, you know, so.
The two Brick brothers all doing like their own things in different kinds of world.
He did very, very well, and he started that in the early 70s, right? So or maybe even in the 60s, I forget now exactly when.
I wouldn't know either, no, I'm sorry. So then after school, you failed grade 7 3 times, and then you thought, okay, let's do something else. Right?
Well, then it was a question from my parents' perspective, you know, that do we send them to the, and they were loving and all of that stuff, you know, but there were questions about the people say, what do we do, send them back to school for the 4th time to fail? Or, you know, should we, other people suggested that I should be sent to the school that had, you know, mental challenges. And or do we get him a job? So fortunately they chose to get me a job in a furniture factory. And you know, so that's what happened. At 14, I worked in a furniture factory and became a furniture maker. Which helped me immensely when I came to Prince George, you know, and wanted to build my own mill, right?
And so that's where your love for lumber started.
Yeah, my dad was managing a small lumber company in Holland, and I already acquired the love for lumber. Is that my grandfather, the father of my mother, I never knew him. His name was Jan, same as mine.
He will be my grandfather.
Yeah, something like that, right? He was a master furniture maker, very, very good at what he was doing. Unfortunately, he died in his mid-40s or so, but he still has a lot of examples of what he did. So I admired that, and then the other one, my dad worked in the lumber industry and managed a smaller lumber company and was quite successful at it, and so that's kind of where the love came from. So I had, you know, in the mid-60s, I already worked for another major lumber company. Was actually quite successful, but I still felt I had something to prove, and then I felt that I had failed, really, because of failing grade 3 and then grade 7, and you know.
People didn't know about ADHD back then, right?
No. No.
So it felt like a failure, although it wasn't really your fault, right?
It's something that either you have it or you don't, right? So it's not something that you acquire, at least not in my opinion, and you know, so, but you know, that's kind of what it was, you know, so, and then, so where all the years then passed, and it was not until I was 57, 58 that I found this book that all of a sudden explained ADHD, and I said, now I finally know who I am. And then from there on in, it took me another number of years, and before I really, I talked to my doctor about it 5 years after that, because there was shame involved, you know, that and then the other part was I was building a lumber company, and I didn't want my bankers to think, well, this guy has problems.
Wow.
You know, so I didn't want to really talk about it. And then I went to talk to my doctor 5 years after I was 57, in my early 60s. And one day I went into my doc, and he said, I knew him well, had been our doc, family doc for a long, long time. And I said to him, I think I got ADHD. He said, why? And I explained it to him, and then him and me together looked at it and got thinking about it. And he said, I think so too. Wow.
So you were one of the first that came to him saying that there's ADHD.
He had been exposed to it in some forms, right? So had some knowledge about it. And then it was another number of years until I saw him again Probably when I think it was 2008 or so, when I talked to him again and said, "You think I should take medication for it?" And he said, "Well, you could, how about Adderall?" And so he gave me a prescription for 100 Adderalls, 0.20 or so, very strong. I had 3 pills like that, didn't do nothing for me, and then after that, I never had it again. It's still in my drawer, actually, 97 of them. And, but then after that, in latter part of 2019 in particular, I started talking about ADHD more, and when I did my presentation at UNBC after I got the doctorates, I talked about it more specifically, ADHD and PTSD as well, and the inner child as a result of being exposed. And so, and since the time I've been more open about ADHD, and gradually been talking about it more and more, and gradually things are opening up more, stigma is being removed more. And
you told me you see your ADHD as like a gift and a curse, right?
There's no question about that in my mind. I call it a superpower. I could not do what I'm doing unless I had the ADHD. And then I felt I had to write about it. And,
so that's the book that's coming out. And
that's the book, ADHD Unlocked. Extremely interesting book, I believe. It's coming out on, as I said, July the 15th. And but since that time, the interesting thing that has happened, it's virtually on a daily basis that I get exposed to people that have ADHD. And this morning you were, and so for the people that are watching, is because of Tisch's interest in business. He has been around me because I'm entrepreneurial and lots of things. We'll let him talk about it in a minute here. So I said, he may as well sit into the meetings that we do, give him a better idea. I'm not saying that he doesn't have, but from the picture that he had before COVID, when he was going to come, to the time that he arrived here a couple of days ago, he really didn't have a good idea of what I'm doing here. And so what I wanted to do is to involve him in the company, so if we have meetings, he can sit into the meetings. Like this morning, we are already at 2 or 3 meetings. That's usually what happens every day. There's Zoom meetings, there are other things, and we're negotiating about deals of all kinds of different descriptions. And so he got the exposure to it. So this afternoon, when we had a meeting, the fellow that we met with, he was only a little bit into the meeting, and then he volunteered. He was ADHD.
That's right. You said you saw it the minute he came in.
Yeah, virtually the first 2 minutes that he started talking about, I knew he was ADHD.
It's interesting. So you really recognize it.
Yeah.
So very interesting.
So from your perspective then, it gave you the opportunity, as you did in Holland, before you chose certain directions and hence your studies, so there you had an opportunity to see a bit more of this company that you have heard so much about because of me.
Exactly. Because we came to Canada, I think 4 years ago, just for holiday and to see Banff and Jasper and British Columbia. And then, of course, we knew you had a sawmill, you had a big company, many employees. And I thought, okay, that must be a big thing. And you gave us the tour here, and it was very nice. But now I've been around like for 2 days, and I really see how busy you are and the meetings you have. And there are so many things in your life that you, like there's the book and the podcast, and then the whole sawmill has to keep on running. And like you have so many balls in the air. Do you say it like that? Like so.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see. It's bigger than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And I like being the sponge and just sitting at a meeting and observing what's happening, like learning English words as well and the culture and doing business here, the entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so it fits in what you do in Holland, where things are different than here. But the basic principles of business are the same. But I always found, because even before I came to Canada, I was working for a large company in Holland, Billy & Pond, and part of their auditing and structure. And what I always found is that things were so formal there in a lot of ways.
That's right.
Here, a lot more casual. So
I think it's a lot more casual. It's also way bigger or so. Like in the Netherlands, everything is, for example, like industry is mostly focused on the region. And I think you told me 95% of the lumber produced at the Brink forest products is being exported to the USA, right?
Correct.
Everything is large numbers, large companies, and there's space here. We don't have this much space in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting to see, to experience here.
Yeah, and the other part about, and I like Holland and I like Europe, obviously. The other part here is that, relatively speaking, we are so young here as, talking about sitting in Prince George. And for those of our guests that are watching, Prince George is the center of British Columbia. And to kind of put some size behind that, it is probably, British Columbia is by far, at least in my opinion, one of the nicest provinces in Canada. Not saying that the other ones are not, they are also, but it's somewhat unique. And Prince George is about 800 kilometers north of Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's, for all intents and purposes, the center of the province, from north to south, but also from east to west.
So that's like half a province. If I drive 800 kilometers from my house, I will be below Paris.
Exactly.
And here it's only half a province.
Yeah, only half the province. So it's so large. And then when I came to Prince George, the Prince George then was a boom town. And they were building sawmills and pulp mills, and the normal conversation would be here is, when did you get here and when are you leaving?
So is that a boom town? It means arriving, making money and going back?
Yeah, that's what it means.
Okay.
It's saying that it's not a place to really live, but it's place to make money and then you leave. It's totally the opposite now. Prince George is unique. It has about 80,000 citizens. It is the center of British Columbia. It is also the center in terms of transportation, by road, by rail, by air, and it will grow and further expand to, I believe, in the next 10, 15, 20 years from now, it will have 200,000 people living here. And then the other thing unique about Prince George is that within 50 kilometers from here, there are probably 1,000 lakes. And there is nature all around us. It's not uncommon here that, like last week, I saw 2 black bears in our neighborhood. You see foxes, you see deer, you see, the caribou, not so much here, but moose, and so very much nature. It's an absolutely unbelievable, pretty and beautiful place.
Yeah. And Brink contributes to that, right?
Pardon me?
Brink contributes to the idea of Prince George, and it will stay, I think?
Yeah, I believe in Prince George, and obviously I've been here for nearly 60 years. And, we are very involved in Prince George and the community, and we have always done that. I've always said that, that's part of my culture. Is giving back. Nobody became poor because of giving back, so, and you should participate or help, to build the community, and we do that wherever we can, so.
Like maybe that's one of the lessons I learned in Madurodam as a mayor, that giving back is very, very good. Yeah. So one of the things you do there is you have to organize a challenge. By becoming a mayor, you all give this pitch. And in the pitch, you have to present your plan of contributing to the community as well. So my idea was to do something for people with alopecia. You might have seen it. I have alopecia.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just talk about that a little bit. Is that so? For again, our guest is that with Ties at a fairly young age actually started to develop alopecia.
That's right. Yeah, I was about 12.
With loss of hair, and that's how old were you when that started?
I think I was about 12 years old. I was in the first class of high school.
Quite delicate, right, for a young person to deal with.
It was not very easy, especially at the beginning. But then I developed it. There was a small bald place on my head, and then I first thought, oh, it must be the barber who just cut a bit too much. And then it stayed, and we went to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with alopecia, which is an autoimmune disease, which means I'm not sick or so. It's just there's no hair like on my body, but that's it.
Yeah.
But then I soon gave it a place. I think when I was 13, I saw all my friends just treated me the same way, and my family was very like supportive.
Yeah.
And I gave it a place, and now I see it more as a gift actually.
Yeah.
Because of my alopecia, I saw many kids who had it.
Yeah.
I think in the Netherlands only about 10,000 people have it. It's pretty rare.
But then, it is, yeah.
Yeah, but there's an organization that, like a community of people who have it. And I saw many kids who have it who didn't dare to go to school, or they didn't want to take a job, or to sport, or to go to parties with friends. Yeah. And then I thought, wow, it's
very
everybody should be a kid.
Exactly.
And then I presented my plan during the pitch.
Yeah.
I wanted to organize something for them, or to make sure they know they're not alone, and you know it's not bad. It's just there's no hair, and that's it.
And you had a period in which you used artificial hair.
Yeah, that's right. I wore a wig when I was about 15, 16 years old, and then it was just, for example, when I had a football match, I just looked too young, I think, to be bald, and then I found this wig on a Facebook advertisement, which it was sticked on my head, so I could sport with it, I could swim with it, I shower, everything, and it looked like there's this famous football player, Neymar. He's from Brazil, and he wore about the same. It was the hairdress was popular in like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. Then when I was 17, I did this research, like your thesis for high school, and I did it about the impacts of your looks on your feeling of happiness. Yeah. So I researched many people. Also, I told you about I wanted to do something for people with alopecia. Yeah. So I invited more than 100 kids to Madurodam. Yeah. And we gave this day with. Like there was a world.
I remember that was on Facebook.
Yeah, that's right. We had this world champion of kickboxing who gave them training in being strong. Yeah. And we cooked with a famous chef, like a cook from the Netherlands, and we cooked with insects. And I did this research during that day, so I gave them. I asked certain questions, and then I found out that. For most people, their looks is not it doesn't have a very big impact on their happiness. Right. And for some it is, like if one of my...
by and large it isn't.
No, I think so. I think like my best friend, for example, he is a model. I think if he lost his hair, he would be very, very sad.
Well,
So there are, for certain people, it will be very hard. But then I thought it's what you make of it, and you can, like, glass is half full, or just be positive about it. And then for me, without my hair, I would never have been the mayor of Madurodam, I think. It saves me a lot of time, a lot of money. Yeah. I once did this calculation. If I will be 82 like you, then I would have saved 46,000 euros, which is about, I think, 55,000 Canadian dollars. Saved on barber, shampoo, all kinds of stuff. So that's a nice side effect.
That's an interesting observation.
Yeah, and people recognize me. This is now my trademark.
You look good, you know. So I'm not telling you that because of you're special to me, but you do, you know. So
thank you.
Yeah. So the other thing I just want to, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about that is that. and obviously your dad and your mom are close to me, both Bart and Mariken, and then Suus, so we talked about Suus already. She's amazing as well.
She is.
And and tell a little bit about Bart.
Well, he went to the same university as his father and as me, so I'm the third generation at the TU Delft.
Yeah.
And he's involved he did computer science.
Yeah.
So he's been in software all his life.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to teach. He likes teaching, and he likes the high school students. So now he just graduated. He did another master's in Delft when he was 53.
Yeah.
So, because by becoming
is he
a
an
teacher,
engineer then?
Yeah, he was already. He was in Delft.
Now he's a double engineer.
Yeah, now he's a master's at engineering.
Okay.
Don't pin me on that, but I think that's about it.
Yeah.
So now he did his second master, because if you want to teach a high school, you need a certain degree or something.
Right.
And he got it.
Yeah.
It's a first degree. It's called.
Yeah.
And now he's teaching at a high school very close to my house.
He loves it.
He loves it.
I know
he
that,
loves it.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I talked to him.
Yeah.
And then Mariken, your mom, so she is also very special. She was involved in architecture.
That's right.
And then worked for a large company managing all their busy job, right?
Yeah, that's right. She studied architecture in Eindhoven, which is another very good university in the Netherlands. So she did some architecture things, but then she found out she also likes education. So she's now she's a manager at a company that manages the facilities for high schools.
Yeah.
So she likes that a lot as well.
Yeah.
And she's a lovely woman. She supports me, and like my father, I love my parents.
Well, sure.
And they, I don't know, they support Suus and me like no other. So that's amazing.
Now the other one that I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Sandra.
Yeah.
And Jan. Tell me about them.
Yeah.
Sandra is the sister of Bart.
That's right. Yeah. So she's my aunt. And Jan is her husband. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have 2 kids.
Yeah. The names are
Julian and Nick. Yeah. So
Julian and Nick are
about my age. Julian is actually 8 days younger than me.
Yeah. They're very close to the same age.
That's right. Yeah. And actually, Nick is now close to. Yeah, not very close. He's in San Diego. He's teaching. He's 16 now. And he's having lessons in English.
On his own?
Yeah, on his own.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's very nice because I have many friends in the Netherlands and we are in different time zones.
Yeah.
So every time when I'm awake, they're sleeping and vice versa.
Yeah.
But then Nick is the only one who's awake, so I WhatsApp him every night. Hey, how's life in San Diego?
Yeah.
Because he's the only one that's in the same time zone as me. So that's very nice.
Neat. Yeah. And you guys are still very close as well.
That's right.
So Bart and Sandra were very close, right? So always were very close.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then obviously I know them so well. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about. Tell me what Jan is doing actually.
He's
Sandra.
Jan is a freelancer, so he does consulting stuff for.
At one time he worked for the Brink group, and then he went on his own.
Yeah, that's right. So he was
very
involved
successful,
in
right?
Yeah, very successful, exactly. And Sandra as well. She worked at the bank, a big bank in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And I believe she's freelancing now as well. But I gotta ask her what she's doing exactly. So she's like a financial. She did
very senior role in some of the major banks, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe Julian, he's studying architecture as well.
Oh wow!
In Rotterdam, so at the College of Rotterdam.
Yeah. And Nicky?
Nick, he just finished high school. He graduated.
Yeah.
And he's still finding out what he's doing.
Yeah.
And maybe he will find out in San Diego.
And to complete all of that is that then Betty, Dedo's wife. So I've known her. She's probably 80-ish.
She just turned 80 at the 13th of June.
Just happened, and I've known her since she was 15,
Yeah.
16, and Dado and her were already together. My brother,
Yeah.
unfortunately, he passed away in 2019,
Yeah,
on
that's
May
right.
31st. But they knew each other already since they were 15, 16.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They had a relationship since they were so young, and they never separated. So
Never.
No.
They were always close together.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was very hard for her when Dado passed away.
I know that.
Because they did everything together.
Yeah.
And I think now she's
doing
doing
better
very well.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And she drives a car now. Before she didn't.
Exactly. And she lives close to both Jan
and all of
Sandra.
you are pretty close
Yeah,
together.
yeah. We
so.
all live in Voorburg, which
Yeah.
is very nice. So yeah, we see her a lot, and yeah, I think she's doing very well. She's she loves us, I think.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
Yeah. And that's nice. So on the 13th of June, we went to the beach. We always do that when their birthdays.
Yeah.
We go to this specific restaurant.
Sure.
And she likes habits.
I think I know where you go there. Yeah.
That's called the Waterreus.
Yeah.
The water giant in English.
Yeah.
So yeah, she likes habits.
Yeah.
I think that's the same as you, right? You're a
Yeah.
man of habits as well.
Yeah. So for the people that are watching, Cheese will be here for, it's about 6 weeks. He's about been here now for about 2, and he'll stay in Prince George, kind of shadow me for the next week and a half, and then spend some time, in NBC, and obviously, as you already noticed, he will enjoy it, and it also gives you a little bit of a view of my past and the family around me,
Yeah, it's very nice to talk to you. Yes.
Beautiful having you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you.
And I hope you keep inspiring people for many decades.
I will do that.
Yeah. Looking forward to your book.
Thanks, Ties. Take care.